victim is Miranda Sips, age 12. And she would have been 13 later this month. She was sent for an autopsy. We're still waiting for the final autopsy results, which will be a little while. In the meantime, we have some investigating to do on different things, and we're following up on those leads. And at this time, I think I'll just see if y'all have any questions.
The type of injuries that she received, are they consistent with what kind of damage made with what?
The injuries were life-threatening. They put her into a state of being unconscious. She was not talking. She basically could flutter her eyes and move her hands a little bit. Over a 4-day period, they had her laying on a pallet in the house. I will not, at this point in time, go into the injuries, detail on the injuries or how they happened, because I'm not 100% sure. And I don't want to sit up here and tell y'all these injuries happened this way, and I find out they happened a different way. So we're going to get to the bottom of it before we address how the injuries occurred.
So she was 4 days without
Without any medical attention. They
Do you
did get oxygen for her at one time, I think.
You say that she received smoothies, they were drinking smoothie.
They were trying to give her smoothies, but somebody that's unconscious is not able to swallow.
Do you know if there was a welfare check done at this home previously in the last year or so?
No, ma'am, I don't know all of that. We had calls for service at that house in the past. I don't have the information on what those were or when they were, but all of that becomes part of the investigation. And those things may come out later, or they may not have anything to do with it.
So right now, if you don't know exactly what happened or how did it happen, what are the basis of the arrest in criminal charge?
What we do know is what they told us, what the mother told us.
Did they confess?
Basically, yes. Yes. Both of them basically confessed. But as to how the injuries occurred exactly, you know, we still have a little bit of doubt. We need to figure that out before I'm standing up here and saying, yes, it happened this way. You know what she told us.
Sheriff, you say that they confessed. Can you give us an idea of what they said?
No, ma'am, I can tell you that they told us how the injuries happened, and they told us they failed to act. And you can, just for the sake of argument, throw out how the injuries occurred. Throw that out the window. You still have a duty as a parent to provide medical care for a 12-year-old child. And that's what we're talking about right here.
Sheriff,
We're not talking about them assaulting the child, trying to kill the child, or anything like that. We're talking about them failing to act and get that 12-year-old girl medical attention like she should have gotten.
did they say what led up to what happened to the little girl? An incident, something at school, at home?
Nothing at school. This had, contrary to what you may see on the internet, had nothing to do with school. School didn't start till Monday. And of course, she wasn't there. So it had nothing to do with school. We have a story from the mother, like I said, but at this time, we're not prepared to release that.
Sheriff, were there other children in the home?
Bobby? No, no. There are other children, but not in the home.
Do you know what their ages are?
No, not of.
Do you know if they're legally adults or?
No, they're not.
under? Okay, are their guardians legally these two adults that have been arrested or someone else?
The other child I know about is with his biological father in another city.
Did they show any kind of remorse so far?
A little bit, maybe.
Not really.
Not like a regular
No.
parent or mother? would?
No, not like you or I or any of us probably would. The mother, as my investigator said, not really at all. The stepdad did exhibit some remorse.
Sheriff, just real quickly, is it standard protocol for you guys to go to these calls when they called in the highway, you said, for EMS? Is it standard protocol for you guys to respond?
Yes, the initial call was from the home.
Okay.
So, but yes, it is standard protocol. You have a medical emergency, we respond to almost 99% of them. And then you have a medical emergency involving life-threatening conditions with a child, yes, it is standard protocol. We will always respond to those.
Sheriff, I know you said that you all had been out to the house for a previous call. Have these two individuals been arrested prior, and what were the situations in that case?
I'm sorry, but I do not have their criminal record available to me right now, and I have not looked at it. So, that's something that, you know, I think they both had their issues with the law in the past, but I don't have that information to give you.
Sheriff, when, in that phase of interrogation, do you ask them why they don't react on those 4 days, why they didn't have that sense of urgency to?
Basically, they thought they could nurse her back to health. And we do not think they wanted the attention that this would draw to them if the little girl was injured, which is strangely ironic, but that was their line of thinking.
During the investigation, have your deputies found any other things inside the home that might be of question? Any, alcohol that's excessive, or drugs, or drug paraphernalia, anything like that?
No.
The last time we were here is like 2 or 3 years ago, I guess, if I remember.
Probably about 2 years and less than a month, 2 years and less than a month.
Yeah. Are you surprised by this type of death that involves a minor?
Yeah, obviously we are. This is not something we typically run across or have, so, but in this business, it's always that way. The next call is gonna be something strange or something you've never dealt with before. In this case here is a good example of that.
Sheriff, do you think the suspects are legal, illegals? They've lived in Christine for a while?
They're legal citizens of the United States.
Are you seeking any additional charges at this time, or is that later down the road?
I don't think so, but that also depends on anything that comes out of the investigation that is still going on into this. So if the facts were to change that would warrant a different charge than what we have them charged with, and then certainly we would do that. But I can't say that I anticipate anything right now.
Sheriff, if the crime is by omission, would that involve any other relative that might maybe knew what was going on and never called the authorities' attention?
We have zero information that anybody else knew about it. Now, if there was an adult there that knew this was going on and failed to report it, then the answer to that would be yes.
So the initial call was in the home, but she was attended in the road.
Our information led us to believe they didn't want law enforcement at the house, so she left with the child. And then we made contact with her by telephone, my dispatchers did, and told her to pull over because the EMS unit was not far away. So EMS did get the child, and they started immediate care to the child and did everything they could for her, and got her to the hospital as quickly as possible. I understand they worked on her at the hospital for an hour, but there was nothing they could really do at this point. And you gotta remember, she'd been in that situation, laying on the floor for 4 days.
Can you share with us any physical marks, broken bones, anything of that nature?
No broken bones. No marks that I could share with you right now. We'll wait till we get the autopsy report back to be sure about that.
You said that you felt like they didn't want law enforcement there at the house. Well, how were the living conditions there?
Good. Basically an unkept house, yes. Not what you'd want.
Can you describe that at all? Like standing water,
No,
sewer?
nothing like that, but just, I guess, picture not cleaning the house for a month or something, you know, just untidy, unkept, sort of dirty.
Was anyone else living at the home or a neighbor or anything like that, aware of anything happening inside of the home?
No.
Is this going to have probably an impact on the kids going back to school, knowing that she was a cheerleader here?
Well, I'm sure Jordanton ISD, where she attended junior high, they brought in extra counselors yesterday and probably today for any kids that needed to talk with a counselor. And so things like this, when a death of a child always has an impact with fellow students in her school.
Sheriff, you said that you weren't looking for other charges, but could murder be one of the charges that this couple could face eventually?
I guess worst case scenario, yes, if possible, if the facts warrant that, if the facts support that, if the evidence supports it. Right now, we don't have that. We don't have that. We don't have evidence that anybody committed a murder right now. But that's why we're continuing our investigation. And I'm fully aware this leaves a little bit of a hole in what you're trying to get, but it has to be that way for now, until we get through.
Thank you, Sheriff.
Anybody else?
I just want the spelling of your chief, right? What is
Yes.
your title?
Chief Deputy Jake, J-A-K-E, and S-K-R, G-U-E-R-R-A.
Okay, thank you.
And the little girl, how do you spell her last name?
S-I-P-P-S.
S-I-P-P-S.
Sips.
Sips.
Her first name is Miranda.
Miranda Sips. Okay.
And I have photographs of the two individuals arrested, if anybody wants to video them or even take them.
Okay.
Is that it? Thank you all.
Thank you. Thank you.